This is a very serious music business class, and I want you to pay very serious attention. Again, the topic of today's lesson is the business of record labels. I'm sure you must have heard about record labels, and at one point in time, if you are an artist, you must have dreamt of being signed to a label or working with a record label. So today's class will examine practically what a record label is all about, the internal structure, and what they do. So first, let us define what a record label is. I'm excited in sharing this because on 1st of October, we'll be launching 10 Strings record label to further support, promote, market the best of talents that we train in this school. So beyond the classroom training, we want to invest in some of the best talents we have. And so by 1st of October at our Lagos Freedom Fest, we'll be launching our own record company. And the beautiful thing about our record company is that it's not just a regular record label, it's also a tour company. So the name is 10 Strings Records and Tours, meaning we will be into the business of taking the artists across the country, across Africa, across the world, making sure that our talents don't just stay in one place waiting for the next show, but as a record label, as a music management company, we look for the opportunities wherever they are around the world to make sure our talents get on the stage where they are supposed to be. So I'm excited talking about a record label. So what is a record label? A record label is a brand, a trademark, a business associated with the marketing of music recordings and music videos and other music products that you can have. So their goal is to treat your music like a product. You know the brand of noodles you love so much, say for instance, Indomie. That is the label on your noodles. And that's the label they use to market it. So for music, when they say record label, it is the brand name on your music with which they push the music out there. So there is no other function of a record label than to sell music, to commercially exploit music. So take your music as a piece of orange. The function of a record label is to squeeze it dry. Every track you have, whatever they can do to it to bring out every single drop of juice from that orange. That is the work of a record label. Often a record label is also a company that manages such brands and trademarks, coordinates the production, the manufacture. What's the difference between production and manufacture? Sounds similar. When you go into a studio to create music, what are you doing? You're producing music. After that music is produced, you now need to put it in CD format, vinyl format, make 100,000 copies and distribute everywhere. That process of recreating the original master is what we call the manufacturing. And then when you're done manufacturing, you want to distribute. When you distribute and the music is available in all the stores, maybe you are making ABC bread and you've delivered all to all the supermarkets around, ShopRite, Ebano, and the rest of them. Does that guarantee sales? No. The fact that your product is in the store does not guarantee sales. There's a chance that there will be like 10 other brands that have pushed their music to that same store. They have pushed their bread and whatever product you're selling to that store. So without proper marketing, a customer will walk into that store and go with the brand that they recognize, something you already know. So if I want to buy a soda drink, for instance, now, I would, let's say the name of your own soda is XYZ, and all my life I have known Coca-Cola. There is no chance that I will suddenly pick XYZ soda over Coke soda, because something has made that brand stuck in my brain for life. What is that thing called? Why has Coca-Cola stored permanently in my brain? What? That's the next thing. Marketing, promotion. So when you create your new product and you distribute it to all the stores, that does not guarantee any sale. You now need to promote, do everything within your power to create awareness and publicity for that product, so that customers who walk into the stores will specifically say, I have seen this before. Even if they can't, they didn't go into that store with your XYZ soda in mind. But the moment they get to the aisle where they sell all the types of sodas and soft drinks, and they cite your product, what happens? What happens immediately in their brain? It's a connection between the marketing materials they've been seeing, the video adverts, the radio advert they've seen, the posters, and all the promotional and marketing activities you've done. Everything rushes back to their brain. Yes, this looks familiar. I have seen this before. There is some level, people have a sense of validation or reputation for something they think that they have known before. Am I making sense? So one of the core works of a record label is marketing and promotion. If anybody says they're signing you to a label and they are not heavily involved in promoting you and your music, then that is bound to fail, because today's world has got oversupply of music. So if you log into YouTube today, there are over 1 billion tracks, 1 billion songs that span over 100 years are stored on YouTube. Same thing with Spotify or AudioMac. Just think of the platform. Billions of content, hundreds of millions of musicians. Why am I going to go on YouTube and just find and be looking for an artist I don't know to listen to? So this is the reason why a record label will do so much promotional activities on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, in real life. So you're driving and you hear the song on radio, like, I love this new artist, but I don't know who this person is. You Shazam it. Open your YouTube and specifically search for that artist. Am I making sense? What led you to that point? YouTube. And if you like it, you might want to bookmark it, you want to add it to your playlist, you want to save it, you want to download it. As your friend, I listen to you, I hear you listening to it, and then I say, this song is good. Say, oh yeah, I just discovered this artist. So this is the name of the artist. I also join you. So marketing is extremely essential in music business. And one of the strong responsibilities or strength of a record label is the ability to effectively market and promote their musicians. And another responsibility, enforcement of copyright for sound recordings and music videos. Enforcement of copyright laws, of the intellectual property. So when I distribute that song and I have it in all the stores, physical stores and online stores, as a record label owner, what stops you from downloading the song and going to make 1,000 copies of the CDs to sell? You can. If you go to a place where they duplicate CD today and say, I want to make 1,000 copies of this CD, they're most likely not going to ask you, why are you doing out the music? You're paying for the service. They're going to manufacture the CDs for you. So what happens to the record label that has invested millions in promotions and marketing and publicity for that song? They are going to lose their money. So one of the responsibilities of a record label is the enforcement of the rights that is surrounding the content they release there. Very strict enforcement. You find a record label with an artist that has not made any successful debut, they haven't really achieved anything in their career. Someone will steal their music and that record label will go all out like the world is going to end. This artist has not made a dime, but then they realize that somebody somewhere has done a cover of that song. Someone has sampled that song. Someone has duplicated that song. Somebody has used that song in their movie. Somebody has, used it on their Instagram program without credit. The way they go all out, you would think that that person has stolen their gold or diamonds. Even if that person hasn't made so much money, they will sue you to court. And you might be awarded damages that you'd never, ever believe. For an upcoming artist who has never made up to $100 in their music career, the court might say you should go pay them 100 million naira for using their song with their permit. It depends on what their lawyer claims. Their lawyer can say your work has been seen in 100 countries. Your post on Instagram where you use this music as the background music has been viewed by 100 million, has been seen by 100 countries of the world. And they are charging 1 million naira or say $1,000 for every country that song. Back and forth, here and there, the court may say you should pay 50 million naira, and you would be extremely shocked. So the record label would not just release music out there and start promoting it and pumping money into it, and then somebody somewhere will stand up and exploit without permit. So one of the responsibilities of a record label is enforcement of copyright. So you will see that serious-minded record labels are dreaded. They are highly respected because they know they have very serious lawyers in the company. They know that, people know that this record label are very strong legally, so they dare not take anything that belongs to them. So without you building that reputation that I do not joke with my intellectual property, I will prosecute you. If you steal my content, people would joke around with you. So you're not just exploiting that right, but you're not just protecting that right, but you are also exploiting the right of your music. So how do you exploit the right of your music? One of the ways is through publishing, which I have taught in this class. Meaning beyond releasing the song out there in the stores for marketing, for listening and enjoyment and download and streaming, a record label also makes sure that that song is published with publishers, or they want to publish it themselves. What does that mean? Everything else in the world, apart from listening and streaming, everything else in the world that music is used for, they make sure that that music is made available for those uses. What are example of those uses? As a soundtrack on a television show, radio commercials, in a film, in a game, in a campaign. I recently heard Beyonce asking the Trump campaign organization to desist from using their music during their campaign, and they have to stop. You know, so if you want to use my music in all of your rallies, maybe my lyrics kind of support your philosophy or agenda, then your campaign organization has to write to me or to my publishing company. So a record label will exploit other means through which that music can make money, including telling some artists to do a cover. Like, this song would be nice on your next album. You can collaborate with the artist or do your own cover of this, and that person pays for license. That's licensing. You make your music available to be licensed. Those who want to sample it, those who want to have their own cover. You know how people pay for license? You will pay a non-refundable fee, which is not, around the world, is not less than 3,000, and it can go as far as 50,000, 100,000, depending on how big the artist is. I mean, $50,000 to sample. And a lot of the record labels would also say they want a cut of the money, the royalty from that music. So you've paid a non-refundable fee of $10,000, and then the record label is also earning, say, 20% or 10% of the music because you took 2 lines from it that you're using it on your own song. Without a record label's involvement, most times artists get cheated in all of these areas. Someone would even be happy. Oh, wow, I just heard my song from an American artist, from a British artist, from an artist in Ghana. They just sampled and the song is doing well. You're happy that your music is out there. But that's your future. I've told you severally in this class that your real property, the property that you have as a creative, is what you create from your mind. You know, the way, I don't think a landlord will come into their property and be happy to say, oh, half of that property has been occupied by a tenant they don't know, who is not paying rent. Like, wow, I'm happy. I'm happy. The governor of Lagos State has taken over my properties, using it for a meeting. The keys are now with him. Wow, I'm so lucky. I don't think any landlord, even the poorest, would ever think that way. So why are you taking your content like that? If anybody, however big or small, is to take any part of your music, however small, one line, one tune from your music, they must receive the license to do so. And that license usually will have 2 levels. One is that you're collecting a non-refundable fee. Whether the song does well or not is not your own problem. You charge a one-time fee for the use of that music. And then you also decide to earn from the royalty, the money the music is making. You can make, as the owner of the original content, you can make as much as 70% of that music. If they don't want, they should leave it. I had a story of, I think it must be either U2 or Linkin Park, that some people use their music and they demanded 100% royalty on the music. Have you seen that level of boldness before? You came to me that you like to do a cover of my song in your album. And I say, go ahead, but every money you make on that song belongs to me. That's some unbelievable level of sense of ownership to your music. It's like saying, I want to move into your house. I say, okay, this is the full rent. You're not leaving the house as the owner. You're in the house. Let's say the house is worth, say, $5,000 per annum. And somebody is saying, oh, I would like to come stay with you. And he's saying you will pay the full rent while staying with me. That's what that means. And the artists agreed. Okay, we're releasing these 12 tracks. This one track belongs to this band. That one track in that album, everything that one track makes goes to the owner. The cover they did from that third-party artist, everything that song makes, the owner says, I want to have it 100%. And they agreed. Why? Don't forget they have other tracks on that album. The fact that there's a popular, successful song that they have done a cover by a known artist will throw more light on the rest 11 tracks that they have on the album. Am I making sense? So the owner thought about that and said, I want to collect everything you make on that one track. So that is one of the core works of a record label, protecting and exploiting copyright provisions. So how do they operate? I'm summarizing the lesson before I go to the slide because I won't waste time on the slides. How do they make their money? How do they even get formed? How do they establish? So the record label, primarily, the most important requirement to start a record label is the knowledge of the industry, which is why today as an artist, if you tell yourself, I don't want to be signed to any label, I want to be an independent artist. There are three types of artists out there. Artists that are signed to major record labels, artists that are signed to smaller record labels, which we call the independent labels, and artists that are 100% independent on their own. There are a lot of successful musicians like that around the world today. They are signed to themselves or signed to their management or their own private record label. So, but if you want to go that route, you want to make sure that you are well educated. And that's the essence of this music business class. You're well educated about the music industry. I just told you we're floating 10 strings record label, right? But I started my music journey officially in the year 2000. So meaning I waited for 24 years in that journey to say I want to float a label. And there is still so much to learn 24 years later. I haven't been to several places around the world for music. As a matter of fact, my Google, what is it called? Google history reminded me this morning in the last 5 years, I've been to 102 cities around the world. US 18, UK 74, and 1111122 in these other places for no other business other than music. So today, without fear, I can say we're starting a record label. However small we're starting, but we're starting with the most important resources, and that is knowledge of how the game works. Am I making sense? So if you sign into a label tomorrow, the first thing you want to look at for is how knowledgeable. Unfortunately, most of you don't check that. You check how much money they have, how big boys, how much of a big boy they are. You know, you see their lifestyle, all of the costume and the convertible cars, all the blinks on them. Beautiful. Hype is very important in record business. Okay? Hype is very, very, very important. All of the, when I start moving or doing business at record label CEO, I'll probably not appear in some of the meetings like this. You know, I'll probably take loan from OPE to buy some bling bling suits, maybe 4 of them. Am I making sense? Hype is very, very important. That's what people see on the outside to want to do business with you. But then hype is not everything. Am I making sense? So the first thing, how grounded, how knowledgeable are these people about the industry? So if you think you have that knowledge capital, the next thing is industry connect. If tomorrow you're starting a label and everything you ever need to do for your artist under your label, you are paying in cash for it, then you should not be starting a label. More than 50% of the things you need from the industry should be either trade by barter or a return favor. I'm making sense. Today in Lagos, I run how many live studios? 1, 2, 3, and 4 digital studios, making 7 studios that belong to me. There are a lot of artists and labels that I've worked with that I charge, say, only 30% or 50% of what they are supposed to pay to use those studios. When I need something from them, they will never expect me to pay 100%. I'm using what I have to sow a seed for what I'm going to need from the industry. There are a lot of radio stations today where I get my music played, my artist music played, and I don't have to pay somebody at that radio station or bribe somebody. It will be the fact that I know a DJ, I know a presenter, we have worked together, he was my friend, we grew up together, and like, guy, I want this song. In fact, the last promotion I did on 5 radio stations, it was one presenter from one station that I say, I want this song playing on 5 stations. I know you guys are connected, all you presenters and DJs in the radio station. Let me spread it to this station. I want it in this. I mentioned the list. And all that I got back in text is that, yes, sir, consider it done. And I chatted him up later. I know some of these guys might want to collect money. Said, of course, he's going to get back to me the ones that he needs to sort. But you're talking about maybe 1/10 of what they probably would have charged you if I had gone to the radio station one by one to say, I want to promote my artist. They just give you one blank bill. Go and pay this. So one of the requirements to start a label is very solid industry connect. And when I mean connect, I don't mean you taking business card. You're taking people's business cards. You're meeting people at events. You've never had anything to do with them. Am I making sense? You're talking about real relationship. You had something going on between you, which is why I will encourage all of you young people that the way to build solid connections in the music industry is to find opportunity to serve, to give, to share, to volunteer, to support other people. Am I making sense? The early part of your career, don't let money be the only motivation for you. I've done a lot of good to people that I'm not afraid whether the future will be bright or whether I will be broke someday. I am too certain that I know maybe even if 90% of those I have served and helped in my life decide not to pay back, the remaining that would remember what I have done or I have related with them will be enough for a bright future. So the early part of your career, find opportunities to volunteer. There's a concert going on somewhere by an industry you really appreciate. Send them an email to say, I would like to volunteer for you to be at the gate that day. I would like to usher for you. I'm experienced with media arrangement. I can do red carpet interview. You send them 1-minute video of yourself doing what you love. You're not asking for money. Most time they will say, okay, you can come ahead. You can come get it done. We'll give you the opportunity. Money is very, very important. It's important you monetize your effort. But at the early stage, you must build solid relationships. Even in a school like this, in the next 10 years, a lot of people in this class will be on a different level. That you will be proud to say, I schooled together with this person. So How are you helping each other? Some of you are producers here and you have singers in-house and you insist you must be paid full money, your full fee to produce for your fellow students. And that student tomorrow becomes big and you're saying, I produced this for him, I did this. It's not seen like you ever supported them. So find ordinary people to support. Find industry people to offer something. Build value system. Having a strong industry connect is extremely important to start and run a record label successfully. And then I'll go to the third requirement, which is money. A record label cannot be broke. A record label cannot be broke. One of the reasons why people will respect you in the industry is that you can call the shots. Am I making sense? Where you need to spend money, you're not talking. You're spending the money. Where you need to spend $100,000, you're not going to look for the 10,000 equivalent of it or a cheaper option. So, and I hear a lot of you say that's the most difficult part. That's the easiest part, actually. The money factor. The music is an emotional product. The money doesn't have to come from your pocket. Keep pushing. Start with enough passion. Do crowdfunding from immediate family, friends, supporters, fans. Gather as much as you can gather and start to push. One day in your journey, not too long, you'll be approached by the big money. Music is an emotional product. People get attached to it. If you're marketing this house to me now, I come and buy this house. I really, even though I love it, it won't change how I feel for one day when you're marketing it to me. But if I have money in my pocket today and I'm a music person, and you tell me this music would like to give it a push, and I listen to that music and I'm in love with it, you just need to tell me the right words. The cash will move on to you. So people invest a lot in music business because their hearts can be connected to it. People support music business. There are investors who have the money to put it in music business. So whether it's your money or not your money, the important thing is that you must also develop the business skills to convince somebody to put their money on the table. And the next requirement I'm about to say is one of the requirements that investors look out for, to trust you to put the money on the table for you. And that requirement is good ears for music. Can I trust you that in the next 10 years, every song you drop will be a banger? Do you know how to identify good music? Is that a gift? I can boast to say 70% of the songs I heard for the first time, I say, wow, this song just came out. This song will be big. All went on to be big. That's a gift. I don't know whether you're born with it or you have to train your ears to be able to see a talent and tell that this talent will go far. There are a combination of factors that guarantee that a musician will succeed. Not just the talent, the attitude, the mindset, the likability. Is it lovable? Have you seen musicians sometimes arrive on a stage and the artists are jumping and the audience is jumping and shouting? He hasn't even said a word. The person is lovable. The person is likable. All of these factors guarantee that an artist will sell. So, do you have an eyes, the ears, the nose to identify a successful artist, an artist that will be successful, and a song that will be successful? Is there a call distracting? Of course. You have an ear. for the right sound. We see record labels today who will release artist after artist, they pump in the money, and none of them really become anything. Wrong products. So before you invest in a label or want to be a CEO, I think you should try without your own money first. Follow big musicians like top 10 musicians in the country. Watch when they release their new single and do a marking for all of them. This song will perform poorly. This song will perform averagely. This song will perform massively. Do that for 1 year. Do that for 2 years and see how accurate. If your predictions are less than 50%, go and start pure water business. Don't start a record label. If you're following 10 artists and your predictions over the next 2 years about how far their music will go, their new releases will go, is less than 50% accurate, then you shouldn't think of being a record label boss. And I'm serious about that. Some of you are like that here. You hear an artist release a new song and you'll be like, wow, this is going to be a big deal. And it turns out being like that. I go on YouTube sometimes and I will hear a new song. Be like, wow, this song is so good. And I will check and see 1,200 likes. I'll be like, how can this song be just 1,200 likes or views? Like, what's happening? Am I the only one discovering this talent? And I go back in 3 months and I see 3 million views. Meaning it was only early at that point. Not too many people have discovered it. This happens to me all the time. So you have to check out that part of you, whether you have the right skill set to identify a potentially successful song. And the last requirement to start to run a label successfully, I would say discipline, hard work. In a label, even the big successful labels, only about 1 out of every 4 artists you sign and promote and push will make it to success. You're signing 5 artists now and you know that only 1 or 2 will actually become big. But you must still sign all 5 and still push all 5 like they are going to be very successful. You never under push some and over push some. You push all of them like you want them to be very successful. But the beautiful thing about music business is that 1 out of 4 that is successful is enough to 10 times compensate for the 4 other ones that are not doing well. So 1 artist that you have that is doing well will compensate for all of the losses. You know, the minimum that Rema, before he left Marvin Records, the least he collected per show over the last 1 year is between $350,000 to $500,000. That's like in the lowest category. There were shows for $1 million, $2 million, and all of that. Imagine that kind of money. $500,000 is Nigeria about 650 million naira now for 1 show. Just travel to France, in 2 days is back, and the account has been credited with 650 million naira. He would, all the team that went with him, band members, DJ, dancers, think of it, will not take up to the 50 million on top. So there's about 600 left. So even if your deal with him is 50-50 as a label, you take 50, we as label take 50. What is 50% of your 300 remaining with you? Of your 600? That's 300. So how much have you lost on the other artists under the label that are not doing well? When you have an artist that gives you that 300 4 times a month, you're making that 300 from 1 artist who will perform at least 4 kind of that show every month. 300 million 4 times. So the other 4 people you're pushing in the label that are just struggling here and there, you don't have a loss. They are not big, they are not that known, but you're not really running at a loss because you have one big artist. This one big artist sometimes is a door opener for the remaining. If somebody calls you and say, we want to book Rema, you tell them we have two very good artists who will open for them. They'll travel with them. So these ones can be paid something like $20,000, $30,000 each. They are earning enough money to support their career and support the work you're doing for them at the label, but you're not really losing. But before you get to that point, you must really, 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 really be consistent, dependable, reliable, hardworking, and financially disciplined. I'm just mentioning that you have an artist that gives you 300 million 4 times a month. You know, this entire money put together is not enough to buy one luxury car, all those major Lamborghini kind of car. So you might be spending all of those earnings on luxury lifestyle. I tell people that there are hotels in Lekki via Ikoyi that are more expensive than the best hotels in Paris, and that's the truth. Go on booking.com and search for hotels in Lekki Phase 1, in Ikoyi, in VI, and filter by most expensive to the least expensive. You would see some hotels for 2.5 million per night, one room. So you might be a record label CEO and you want to show that you have arrived. You're there for 1 week straight, paying 2.5 per night, and drinking only the most expensive drinks. You're doing well, but that money is not being reinvested. This is one of the things that kills Yahoo Boy record labels. Their lifestyle is bigger than their company. Every single penny they make goes back into themselves. They are their company. They will never stop shooting viral videos. They will never shoot professional video. You know what I mean by a professional video shoot? A proper director, proper location, the best kind of actors and characters and, you know, backups. Never. They just shoot any content anyhow, and the artists don't rise beyond a certain level. One artist that I will give it to in Nigeria for always reinvesting in their career would be Davido. I know you will say because it's super rich. Super rich people have the tendency of trying to swallow all their own money by themselves. But this is a guy who would give massively to the people surrounding him so that he can retain the talent. So people who have been working with him for a while are all still around him because he pays them well, supports them individually. And if he needs to shoot a video and that video will be shot best somewhere 1,000 kilometers away, he will fly everybody down there to go and shoot that video, putting that money back into his music. Luxury lifestyle, too much of luxury lifestyle will destroy your investment. So you have to be financially disciplined to start and run a record label successfully. I went for an event on Sunday and I saw some very nice sofas and chairs, and that's where I sat. There were also what do you call this, bar tables, chairs and round table, bar stools and a table. I felt like the couch would be more comfortable, so I sat there. 2 minutes later, a girl came to whisper to me, "Sir, we only sell spirits here. If you're sitting here, we only sell spirits." And I said, "So how much does that, how much does it start from?" I said, "The cheapest is 250. I just packed my Ngongo and moved to the regular stool. And I was with like 2 of my friends. It was easy to form. Like, don't worry, that's small thing, bring it. When I know that that drink is probably 30,000 outside, I will count 250,000 to buy it, to make a point to people who don't know you from anywhere. 2 hours after the event, everybody has parted their way. So even if they were respecting you while they see, they're like, wow, this guy is drinking this expensive drink. In 2 hours, they have forgotten that you existed. So you come into the music industry, your goal is not to show off, it's not the hype, but the result you get from there. The music industry strategy is to hype. It is not to, it's not to actually live that luxurious life. But let us perceive you and feel that, wow, this guy is there. And that's not always about spending all the money you have in your pocket. Sometimes it's about hype. Sometimes it's about knowing where to get your first grade okrika. You understand? Or a nice looking clothes that is costing you less, but looking a lot better than the designer shop where you are buying one shirt for $1,000. Am I making sense? It's a make-believe. It's a make-believe industry. Doesn't mean that you have to 100% live out that luxury, that hype you want people to see. I was going to use a car, a luxury car, in a music video recently. And you know how much they say you can rent it for per day? 200,000 naira per day. That's less than $200 per day. How much did they sell that car? 2 billion naira. Meaning I can shoot a video today and appear in a luxurious car, a fancy car, for less than 200,000 naira. But if I were to own it, that is almost $2 million to buy. So sometimes it's about getting your options right. Can I do a make-believe here? Can I hire it for the purpose of this project? Do you understand? Instead of using company money, did it stop? Instead of using company money to buy SUVs, buy 4, so that when your artist is going for show, it appears like there are like 7 cars following you down there. For the hype, when you arrive at the venue, you can call 2 of your friends who have good cars and say, I need you to follow us, we're going for this show. And you can rent another 1 or 2 for extremely cheap price per day and drive your own. In the end, you arrive at that same show and we'll see all the hype you want us to see. But if you were to own 5 SUVs as a young record label owner, don't forget that you'll be paying 5 drivers and maintaining all cars. I'm going to actually continue. There will be so much pressure on you, so you want to also make sure that you're financially disciplined. So these are the requirements. Can we recap everything I said, the requirement? The first, industry knowledge. 2, industry connections. 3, finance. 4, the good ears for good music. 5, discipline, hard work, commitment, consistency. So how do record labels run their business? What's the model? Now that you have all the requirements, you think, I want to start this. How do they run? So after identifying the talent they want to work with or they want to sign, they agree on a term, on a contract term, and they have this discussion with the artist. Both sides agree and they put it into writing. The artist will sign, the label will sign. What are the contents of this record deal? That's what you call a record deal. What are the things that will be in the contract? Somebody should give me an example of the things to expect in the contract. You're looking for record label, a record deal, but you don't know what to expect in it. What are the clauses? What are the areas of that contract? Let's name 10 in this class. One would be, yes, splitting of revenue. So let's take the first one, like I mentioned. We want to talk about the splitting of revenue, but they won't put it as number one. Most record contracts won't start with that. You find it somewhere down, so you have seen all the other benefits. The first and most important thing that they want to list is what the label brings to the table in terms of promotion, in terms of production, promotion, marketing, and exposure in terms of shows. So you want to see what the label can actually do for you. They would also talk about advances. If I pick an artist from Ajegunle or even from Aja here to sign under my label, what do you think is the first thing I want to do? Is to clean up that artist. Don't forget that showbiz, like I've explained thoroughly, it's about hype. It's a game of hype. And some of you get it wrong, whether it is gospel or secular. The game of hype is required in every sector. You must look up to the musician that you want to be a fan of. So you want to hype up, you want to clean up that musician. But every money you spend doing that is an advance payment. It's what? An advance. A label does not invest 1 naira on you that is not recoupable. Recoupable means to get your money back. So they will most importantly want to make you live in a better living conditions, the environment, the home, maybe a 2-bedroom flat in a secured estate so that you don't die before they make their money back. I always tell people that changing your accommodation is not because they love you or want a better life for you, so that you're not in a place where armed robbers can come in. A safer, better living environment. Clothing, or what they call wardrobe allowances. They would give you mobility, a good car. If you can drive, you drive it yourself. Sometimes they give you with a driver. Are you monitoring this? All of those things, and then say a monthly allowance. All of this comes under an advance payment into the money they believe you will earn in the future. So you're taking an advance into your future. So meaning that you don't just go about being happy. You sign it to a label, they have not made 1 naira from you, and they are moving you to a 3-bedroom flat in Lekki Phase 1 where the rent is 8 million per year. And they furnish it for another 10 million. That's 18 million debt on your neck. Clothing. They're telling you they buy a pair of jeans and this and that, and they put 2.5, they give you a receipt. You can actually tell them, what kind of brand do you want me? How do you want me to look? Agree on the look with them. And tell them, I don't need actually more than 500,000. And you know Yaba or Lagos Island, Balogun area. So you don't just like, oh, this amount of money is available. No, it's your money, your money in the future. I don't know whether you get it. It's like the way Nigeria borrows money in an irresponsible way for children that are unborn to repay. Meaning you are spending from the success you have not realized yet. So they're giving you a car that is worth, say, 15 million naira, and might cost you like $500,000 monthly or quarterly servicing it. You can actually say that, no, this is too much. I can actually do with this. So be in charge of the advance. So they will state it there whether they have an advance or not. And I would advise you not to sign with any label that is not ready to part with any advance. That's a red flag. Meaning they don't believe that you can make money in the future. Advance comes from the faith that I am too sure this artist will make some money, so we would give him some of those money in advance. If somebody is investing zero and you say you're in a record deal, there's a problem. They are either too broke to run a record label, or they do not have the faith in you that you can make that money and thereafter making their own money back. So you see advance. You will see options. This is how many albums are you going to release within a period of time. Some as bad as 1 album per year. So they are signing a record contract of 4 years with you, and it is stating that you're going to produce 4 albums, 1 per annum, with no less than 10 tracks per album. That is saying in the next 4 years, we want 40 songs from you. You know how you write. You know your pace. Is this something doable for you? So you have to check the options and the terms. There are some record labels for 5, 6 years. You might want to negotiate to say 2 years for a start. Please put off some of these things. The shaking too much. Now, you would also find what they call roster. What is roster? How many artists are already on their label? And a record label that operates in a 2-bedroom flat with a 4-man staff, signing 12 people. There are 12 people currently signed under their label. That roster is too big. So they might not put that in the contract, then you have to go find that out yourself. Like, how many people are these people actually signing at the moment? Want to check their roster. In the contract, you would also see how much of creative freedom they give you to create your stuff. How many people on their team will enforce or dictate what you have to create, how you have to create. So check your creative liberty. And then you will see the splitting formula. Who gets what? You want to also check the key man clause. Key man clause protects you as an artist. You sign to a label. Most times it is one visionary in that label. It might be an employee or the employer or a contract staff. But it is that key man that is holding down the success of that label. So are you free to pull out if the key man that attracted you to that label leaves or not? I advise you to make that, ensure that there is that clause, especially if you're signing to a label where one man is known and seen to make things happen in that label. When he leaves, things will never remain the same. That's called the key man clause. There's also a side man clause. You as the musician, is there somebody that is always part of your career? That 40 tracks they want you to produce, you have a producer you've been working with for a while, and you would always want to carry him along. A dancer, a backup singer, your personal manager that you want to continue to manage you. You want to have a sideman clause. Like, whatever happens, I am not dropping this person who has been with me before I sign to you. And so many other clauses that we'll look at later. So this contract you read through, which in most cases, a lawyer has helped them to write it. So why should an artist read the contract, accept it, without a lawyer. A lawyer makes sure that they protect every interest of the company. In fact, sometimes they will use 3-4 lawyers to tie it down for them. But then you read out of excitement in 2 hours, you say, I have accepted, you go to sign. Never do that. Send it to me. If you're still in this school, send it to a knowledgeable person and make sure there's also a lawyer that is reading through and showing you all of the loopholes that you need to tighten up. So when both parties sign to this deal, once you're in a record contract with the label, the first thing, like we mentioned, is the branding, rebranding, the cleanup. Please disconnect the call. The branding, the cleanup, the tuition, and all of those fine-tuning of who you are and your brand. That's the first stage. The second stage is the assembling of your products. So they want to look at what you have already done, what you have. Okay, you're coming into this contract with 20 songs. Their A&R team will go through the 20 songs and say, we can only use 5 out of this. We like these 5. And they will either decide to use it the way it is, or tell you we need to remix, remaster, add something, remove this. They work on that and begin the project immediately. Some of them will allow you to continue to work with your producer. I will tell you, we have our producer who will finish this job for you. And you then start to create more product with their input. After which they want to draw up a marketing and promotional plan. So they are not copying the marketing and promotional plan for another artist under their roster to paste in your own career. No. A professional team will sit down and develop a strategy that suits your style of music. So I'll give you, in the Marvin record, for instance, you have, say, an artist like Rema, before he left, and Johnny Drill. Are these two artists similar? Are they very similar? They have more differences than similarities. So how you market artist A is different from how you market artist B. So each artist must have their own document, their own marketing strategy document. How do we push this artist out there successfully? As big as Rema is, a lot bigger than Johnny Drill, but I have seen more live shows by Johnny Drill in Nigeria than Rema. True of us, more live shows by Johnny Drill than Rema. Because they know that Johnny Drill's career or style of music is mostly life-based. So it is not lazy. That's why it's not good to sign to lazy record labels who repeat the same process for everybody. Some artist songs won't even need radio promo. They know what to do. It's not every musician that's signed under your label that will release a new video and you give it to Tunde Ednut or Linda Ekeji to push. You might even be bringing down their brand. You know how people talk on Linda Ekeji and the rest, all the kind of trash they say. It's not every musician you take in there to say, new video released. The audience might not be there. So a smart, intelligent team comes together, develops a marketing and promotional strategy for the artist. For me, this is the most important document when you're working with a newly signed musician. So, and they begin to now check what is happening in reality against the signed contract. In every contract, there are two parts. One is the responsibility of the artist. The other one is the responsibility of the label. I forgot that one of the things you check out for is also budget. How much budget do they have for promotion, for touring, for marketing, for distribution? You check how much money they are willing to spend in all of that, and how they spend that money, and how they pay you your royalties. The accounting and the financial process in the company that guarantees that you're not being cheated, and how much you are allowed to be involved in monitoring the sources of income. So that's basically what a record label does. Taking off the business pressure off you. How will I make money from this record? How do I market? How do I promote this? So you can continue to focus on the creative side, making music, and they take care of the business side. The only downside to that is, in most cases, they make more money than you on your own music. However fair a record label deal is, the record label will make more money than you. On a CD, for instance, how much do you think an artist makes? How many percentage if your song is on a CD and it's being sold? 10%. So if that CD sells for 100 naira, the artist makes 10%. So, but it all depends on how you see life. 10% of 1 billion and 90% of 1,000. Are they the same? So, if you have the opportunity to be with a serious-minded label, however small your percentage is, you will still be earning more than enough, more than the person who is signed to an independent, to an unserious label, or signed to themselves and they don't know what to do. So I'm going to make this slide available for you. It is a slide for lesson 1 and lesson 2. I have explained primarily everything in today's class. I'm going to go on and just summarize a few other things. There are 2 types of labels which I have mentioned to you before: major record labels and independent record labels. As we speak today, there are just only 3 major labels in the world, in the entire world. And you see, 3 of them, they control 80% of the music in the world, the music sales in the world. So even though some artists are not signed to them, big successful artists are not directly signed to them, but they either handle distribution, promotion, or marketing for even the artists that are not signed to them. So they are quite big. What are their names? Sony, Universal, Empire. You heard about EMI? You haven't heard about EMI? Okay. We're going to be seeing some of the list later on. So they control about 80% of the entire music market. One of them randomly came to Nigeria recently and invested over 100 million naira cash in a living record. True or false? You didn't hear about the deal? You heard about it. You know what $100 million is? Over 100 million, actually. Let's not calculate it in naira. Let's just save ourselves at 8. But it gives you an idea of how big a major record label is. You see their names? So the 3 big today, you have Universal Music Group, which used to be former EMI, a recorded music division, absorbed into Universal Music Group. That's the one that I said came to Maven and invested over $100 million in Maven Record. So I can beat my chest to say these companies are in the categories of, say, Coca-Cola, you understand, Apple, in terms of their cash base. And they are always seeking global dominance. They don't need to know how, they don't need to completely figure out how the catalog will perform, how they will make all the money back from Nigeria, blah, blah, blah. The fact is that they want you to know that they are in charge. Dominance first. They are in that territory as well. So you have UMG. You also have Sony Music Entertainment and Warner Music Group. These are the three major labels. And you have thousands of independent labels in the world. Nigeria has over 50 known and fairly known independent labels, but there is no major Nigerian-owned label. A Nigerian known major record label. So, I mentioned before that an artist is either signed to themselves, signed to an independent label, or signed to a major label. So what these major labels do is they can't sign all the big talents from around the world, but they give you one deal or the other. If they give you a distribution deal, for instance, it's big. You know what that means? If Sony says we will distribute your music, there is no place under the sun where music is listened to or where music is sold or streamed that your music won't be, and it won't be performing badly. If Sony is behind your music being on Spotify, if Sony is distributing your music on Spotify, for instance, you're talking about hundreds of millions of streams. Those companies are territorial. They are mafias. You'll be shocked that the best and the biggest playlist on this platform are owned by them. So they know the playlist to drop your song that in 24 hours they will see 50 million streams. They know what to do. Most of them are shareholders in these online stores. These record labels, they won't let you know, but all this Apple Music, Spotify, Boomplay, Audiomack, those really funding them are record labels. So that when their artist music drops on that platform, it can influence you to push them up there. Today, it is extremely difficult for a Nigerian artist to advertise their music on Spotify. After uploading your music or distributing your music on Spotify, you cannot pay money to promote your song because of the requirements. You must impute a tax number, a US tax number. How do you put, how do you want an advertiser from Nigeria to have a US tax ID? It's only saying that we don't want you to cross this level of success. I read a report and it said that over 60% of the music streamed on Spotify. Spotify is world's #1 music streaming platform. Over 60% of the music streamed on Spotify comes from the United States. I'm not sure you understand that. There are more than 200 countries in the world. And all the market they are buying from one store, the biggest music store in the world, is coming from one country. These three record labels, where are they based? Where is their stronghold? The US. This is why Africa must rise up and build something by Africa for Africa. So they do everything within their power to make sure that the best of the money from music industry comes to them. Okay, so The organization of a record label, that's where I would end for today. Who are those in a label? A&R, artist and repertoire. Those are the people who go to find talent. Because we are music people, sometimes you don't know that it's difficult for people to find talents. Like, who are we signing next? Who are we signing next? And when we find this artist, where will all the songs come from? That's the meaning of that A&R. The artist and repertoire. What's repertoire? A collection of songs. It's a very difficult thing. You find a talent today, you hear them sing one song and you want to sign them. That artist will probably will be delivering 4 albums for you over the next 4 years. Talking about 40 songs plus. Where will it all come from? What if the artist is not coming up with the song? You have to find writers, co-writers, collaborators for them. Or you are buying songs and they are doing their own cover. You're getting licensed. Because music is a product. So every serious record label has got A&R department. Find the new talent and find music for them. For me, in our label, I would never ever be looking for an artist that can make their own music. It's one of the most difficult things. Have you seen a lot of thousands of one-hit musicians before? An artist comes out with one single and it becomes so big, and everything they did after that is not finding its way up. It's a struggle throughout their career until they fade out. So if I'm signing you, I want to also see how easy it is for you to come up with your own music. I want an artist I can lock up in 1 hour and he has got 2 songs out. At that rate, I have peace of mind that there will be constantly enough product to push out there. But celebrity artists find this extremely hard because they become so big, and that quiet moment, that's calm in your life where creativity comes to you, they've lost it. They are in one spa today, one show tomorrow, radio interview. Their schedule is so occupied that it's hard for them to shut down an entire day and say, I need to make new music. So those big record labels really have very strong A&R departments, getting collaborators for these big artists to be able to come up with new content every now and then. Some of your celebrity musicians that are not releasing any new content, it's not because they don't want to, they don't actually have. And some of them are too proud to say, I'm collaborating with a smaller artist to write a new song. And when they want to do so, they don't want to do that the right way. So it affects their reputation. You hear the artist saying, he stole my song. Because they give you 1 million naira in the studio and they want you to keep short. So you don't pay 1 million naira for a song. No. If you're going to buy a song off an artist in perpetuity, that the artist will never ever have any royalty or earning from that song, you pay in billions. Because that artist does not have a claim to it anymore. So you find most of them having scandals. I was in the studio, I wrote for this person, and they only paid me for that day. And he would say, I have paid you. What else do you want? No. If you are paying off permanently for an intellectual property, you pay heavily. Else you put that person on the split sheet. 15% minimum is what you have to put that songwriter. And most artists find it hard within Africa to do that. In the US, in the UK, this is standard. You don't even have to negotiate. After the studio session, the manager brings out the paper. Everybody will sign. They put 15%, you sign. That person 5%, that person 2%, including the person clapping. You only clapped your hand, might be 1.5% of that song. But here, one person wants to take all the glory. Written by, produced by, directed by one person. So it is difficult for them to come up with new ideas. Because sometimes the person who helped them with the first idea, they've pushed them out of their career, out of greed. Some artists will come out and just shine with one song. That song, they came about it in the studio. The producer, the backup singer, the keyboardist, everybody in that studio all puts heads together to create that one successful song. The moment they blow with that song, the first thing that comes to their mind is to cut off that entire clique of people. Their level is now too high. So you realize that they would do everything and anything, but would never come up, would never be able to recreate that original first sound that took them out. Smart people don't do that. You see that clique of people that were in the studio when you created that magic, you want to first change their lives and bring them so close. So anyway, that's the work of A&R in a studio, in a record label, to make sure that there's constant flow of new talent and new music. The art department, that's anything that has to do with the branding, the image, the album art, the posters, all of the designs, anything that people can see. Anything we can see about that artist and their music and the label, there must be a creative department. Some people call it the creative department that is in charge of all of those designs. Business affairs or business development department, all of the serious business issues. Where is the money coming from? Budgeting that money. We just got an investor, you know, who wants to put 50 million naira in this label. This investor is hoping to get back this money over the next 3 years with a 20% interest on this money. How do we best use this money? Should we all first go to Kenya and go with 2 girls to go and they have names, they call it. Let's go and clear our head. Then you come back with 17.5 after clearing your blocked heads. In another 1 month, 50 million. Some of you think that all this money I mentioned here are big. They are not. Start to buy flight from there. Enter designer shop and come out with 2 nylon. Go to Lekki Phase 1 or Victoria Island or Ikoyi. Or travel to London and enter 2 shops. Come back, check the balance. You'll be shocked. In fact, when I have money for project in my hand, I'm more careful. Because like big money disappear even faster than small money. If you are left with 5,000 in your account now, there's a chance that 5,000 will be going down by hundreds. 4-5, 4-4, 4-2. Do you understand? Try to have 1 million and see how it goes down. So it's reality. So when you have money for projects, you have to bring disciplined, serious-minded people on the board, on the team, and you make them the business advisory team. How that money should be spent and how best to double it. Extremely important. And don't take people with the same weakness with you on a board with you to run a label. Find people whose eyes are always clear to be on your label. Some of you are afraid to run life with ordinary eyes. You're either smoking or drinking just so that you can be high. And everybody on your label, on your team are like you. You're bound to fail. That's high marks, pro max. You never speak in reality. Nobody on the team is talking sense. Baba, may we take this 2 million. First buy. May we bring 2 girls. May they come, they stay for this house first. May people, they see fine girls with us for like 3 months. May they pay those girls. Say, wow. And sense you talk. May we first they chop. You're talking rubbish. Let's go and shoot video in Paris. Artist that needs to eat first and be okay. You're buying tickets, doing visa for 7 people to go, blowing 18 million on that trip, 3 days. You come back, watch the video and realize that this thing could have been done in phase 1. You understand? Have you entered some part of Lagos? You won't believe you're in Nigeria. Am I right? You will not know you are in this same country. So you have to think deep. Money flies easily. It's one thing that kills labels. Solid business decision. Every penny, every money you spend in a label must have the potential to bring more money back in the quickest amount of time. Take that down. When you have money and you don't know how best do you use it on a project or in your personal life, put it into something that has the potential to bring returns in the quickest. You're not looking for fast money, even if it's all long-term spending. But which one? Before this money finishes, another money will start coming in. So whatever you do now for your artists, you want to make sure that you put them on the stage quickly to start getting performance fees. Performance fee is the most guaranteed thing on an artist's career. How soon can this musician be called up for a show to come perform somewhere and get paid? Those are the first activities you want to concentrate on. And then label liaisons. This is usually one person or small group of people who serves as the liaison between the record companies, distribution company, and the record company. So all your affiliates, which might also call them the public relations or the corporate relations, all your affiliates and partner companies and collaborators, there is a department or someone who handles all the relationships, an experienced PR person. Then you have the legal department. Everything a label does with everybody is in black and white. Somebody is signing for every penny. So there is no freestyle in a label. Your spirit cannot lead you to do something in a label without documenting it. You cannot take 2 raps of Canadian Loud, and when you are done, you take decisions. You will regret it. Everything is documented. You must allow the lawyer to see, like, this is okay. Otherwise, you will lose all the money. I'm not sure you know how a label works. You pick up an artist you don't know from anywhere, or maybe you even know. Nobody is paying you a dime, and you continue to spend on that artist with the hope that you make your money back. With the hope that what? You make your money back. So you're banking, you're spending on your hope. It's a business of financing your belief. I believe in this person, and you are pumping money there. The only thing that guarantees that anything will ever work out are the contracts you have signed. Am I making sense? The business is too risky, too much of risk. Nothing is guaranteed there. The only guarantee you have are those papers. A backup singer, an in-house producer, a sound engineer, a dancer, everybody who is doing anything for you in your label must sign a document to it, even if it's 1 page. As a matter of fact, before you start, have sample contracts. For everything that happens in a record label, there are sample contracts online for free. You download them and have them. When there is need for this contract, we'll edit it accordingly, print it out, the signs. Every money going out. You're doing new shopping, new, wardrobe shopping for your artist. You will list the things to be bought. 20 pieces of clothes for this amount, this amount. He must go first and bring an invoice. You will bring those prices on the shop's, what do you call it, invoice. When that invoice arrives, you will have a meeting with him. Please go through this. Do you agree to these prices? The company is approving 1.5 million naira for you for wardrobe. Is this something you're okay with? When he says yes, he would sign. It's a one page. I, so and so person, hereby consent to a 1.5 million naira wardrobe allowance as an advance payment into my future earning, and hereby agrees that upon the next earning to the tune of 1.5 or above, I will I hereby authorize my labor to automatically deduct this money. Am I making sense? So the next show is going for, and they are hiring him for 5 million naira. You first take that 1.5 out. The money is remaining 3.5. Are you giving him a 3.5? No. If you are on 60-40, that is 60 for you, 40 for him. You now remove 60% of what? No, 60% of 5 million. Are you the one that took the 1.5 million loan? No, he took it. So your 60% is not of 3.5 that is remaining. It is of the 5 million. How much is that? 60% of 5 million is how much? 3 million. How much is remaining for him? 500,000. If he's owing another money, you take it from there. If he comes up tomorrow and say, I didn't ask that I want to buy one jeans for 200,000, he just suddenly brought it to me, they hiked the money. What are you going to do? Open the file. You went to bring this invoice from this store, and you said you want this pair of jeans, it is 200,000 naira. This is the invoice. You brought it on so day, you signed. This is the paper where you signed that you want this loan for 1.5, and you're ready to, you authorize us to deduct it upon your next earning. Am I making sense? So most of you that support artists, when they pull out from their labels and say my label is cheating me, you're not either educated or you're hearing one side of the story. Running a label is an extremely risky job. This artist is probably doing drug. He can take overdose one day and die in one night, and all the money invested on him is gone. It's a very risky job. So as a record label owner, you're a very strong person, business-wise. You want to even do life insurance for him with some of that policy that will be paid. If he dies an untimely death, that will be paid to you. So if it's an insurance policy, for instance, that states that upon his death, 100 million naira goes to you, there should be a contract between you, himself, and his insurance company. Whatever, at any point that this is applicable, whatever money is owing, whatever you have invested in an artist before they start making money is a debt, not a gift. You want to make it back. Otherwise, your company will die. It's a tough job. People say that those who run record labels don't have a heart. It's not like they don't have a heart. They just have to secure their money. So everything is signed for. You organize a show, it comes with 7 friends, and he's saying that everything everybody is eating, they should put it under his bill. Before he leaves the restaurant, there's a paper. What do they call it? Is it impress or something? The accountant is going to go and drop it on his table. Sign. You staple the bill for his table where he and his friends sat. You staple the, what do you call that? It's bill. Staple it to what he's signing, that should be added to his debt. If he drinks 700,000 that night, the next show he goes for, you first deduct that one, deduct the allowance, deduct the car loan, deduct this. He might still be owing you after collecting the money for the show. Might go home with 0. Yes. When he was drinking Hennessy, he did not know that it's for money from his future earning. It's not cheating, it's business. So there must be a very solid legal team in a record label, otherwise you're not going to make any money back. Marketing department, I would say that's the most important department in a label. How do we sell this artist and make our money back? New media, or what you want to call the digital content department. All the content that needs to be created in that label. All digital content for promotion, for marketing as a product there must be a creative team in charge of that. Promotion department, they complement the marketing. Marketing is focused on sales. How do we sell? Promotion is focused on what? Awareness. Getting people to know this artist and his music. That's everything you do to achieve that is called promotion. Everything you do to sell, to actually sell, direct sales, that is marketing. Publicity, sales. So all of the retail shops where the CDs and vinyls are selling, this is the department that is in charge of it. Also sales of, say, merchandise. You know what they call merchandise? Your artist is printing a face cap, wristband, t-shirt, anything that has their image or their liking on it, you make money from it. So if that artist is going to perform somewhere and you have 10,000 people and you sell 1,000 t-shirts that day, it's part of the income. So if you sign a 360-degree deal, which is what you must sign or you should sign with your artist, meaning that every money they make while signed to you, you have your percentage from it. Some artists might not be selling their music so well yet, but people like their brand so much. So they are selling t-shirts, they are selling face caps, they are selling shows. If all that you sign with your artist is to have 40% or 50% or 60% of the music royalty, what happens to the t-shirt that he's selling? What happens to the ticket he's selling for his shows? What happens if a television station calls him and says, we want you to do this advert for us? What happens if he appears in a film for an acting role and he gets $50,000 payment? He will tell you, this is not my music, it's my personal life. And that's why you must sign what they call a 360-degree contract, meaning that you're earning in the next 4 years that you are signed to us as a label. We own this percentage. So if he sleeps and he dreams that they dash him money in his dream, you have to collect your own share of it. That's 360-degree. Okay, so that's about how far we'll go for today. So do we have any questions? All right.
So please, the question is not really about the topic.
Yeah.
The last lecture,
We gave it. Who saw it? The last notes. Are you added to the group? The Lekki Aja group. It was shared. Call Bubella for me, please. I'm sending this to her immediately. So I'm sure it will be. Call Jennifer for me as well. It was shared, right? Yeah. It was shared. This is going now, so in the next 5 minutes you should get it. Yes. The last notes I gave to you, did you share them?